loud messages about your management style. I know your contract was renewed, but what do you think of some of the criticism?
Well, one of the things that I have been very consistent about since I've been in the state is that we need to build a culture of continuous growth and improvement. All of us are accountable. All of us need to be open to hearing feedback and to growing and improving. And so I certainly accept that in terms of my own performance. And so I have listened, and will continue to listen and to the feedback that we've gotten from the teachers. And I'm very grateful that the board has given me some very clear feedback and will continue to do so, and I will use that feedback to improve my performance.
Do you agree with the criticism?
Certainly I hear the criticism and I accept the criticism, and will be making sure that we change what we're doing as a result of that, because it's very real.
How do you do that? How do you change?
I think it's a combination of listening and making sure that how we're listening is very evident, because we have listened. We've listened a lot, and we have, I'm out constantly at schools, and we have forums and focus groups and surveys, and so we have listened. But at the same time, we're getting a very clear message that people don't feel heard. So we have to make sure that we're, making some adjustments to that. And then I think the second part of it is that not only listening, but being very clear about what we're changing as a result of what we're hearing. And again, I feel like we have absolutely done that in everything that we've rolled out. But I also hear very clearly that there's a combination of both. I need to be more clear about what we have changed and why we've changed it, and that it is based on feedback, and also that we need to do more of that.
Commissioner, are we going to...
This contract puts you squarely in the middle of a governor's race now, because now, 2 years from now, you're going to be this... Are you concerned about being a punching bag during the governor's race?
I think one of the things that I'm grateful for is that it's a 2-year contract, and it actually puts my contract back on track with where it would have been if I had 2 3-year contracts, because my first contract was 3 years. That contract was extended by 1 year, so this kind of gets back onto a consistent track. And I think what it also does is carries the contract over into a next term, whether it's Governor Chafee continuing in a second term or a different governor. And so I think that gives us all a chance to get past an election.
But are you concerned about being the focus of an election? We know, everyone expects it to be a pretty ugly race, and you're going to be one of the key topics. Is that a concern?
I think that anytime there's an election, education, fortunately, is a part of it, because it's a very, very important issue. It's important for economic development. It's important for the quality of life. It's important for the future of our children. And so I think it would have been a part. I think it would have been a part of that conversation, whether or not this was a 2-year contract or a 3-year contract, or so.
Are we going to see it?
Are we talking about also? A big part of what we're talking about, and the reason that we're standing here together, is that part of the issues that we've talked about is communication, and she has a board, a very active board, and a chair here. As we said, it's a different structure. The executive committee is very active and involved, and we're looking to support each other. As I said, this mission is too important to have it rise either through an election or for one person. Obviously, we only have one commissioner that works for us at this point, so that's what we have to say. But as far as criticism is concerned, I think it's more of a statement going forward that we all have to work together. And that means going in a room, as we did tonight, rolling up our sleeves. We were loud at times. We discussed it. People have very strong opinions, but at the end of the day, we are Rhode Islanders. And certainly I speak as the chair of this board that I'm a Rhode Islander, and it's too important. Education has to be successful for economic development and everything going forward.
So why did you renew her? We heard the
renew.
criticism. No, what were the main reasons for renewing her? We heard the criticism, but why in your mind was she a good person to keep?
Absolutely. I think the criticisms, I was very careful to let people know that we heard what they had to say in the discussions. But why? Because she's an effective leader. We're in year 3 of a strategic plan, and as the governor has said over and over again, continuity is important to him. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You don't rock the boat just at a time when we're having big discussions about information going forward. Having said that, we're going to revisit and keep looking at making sure that we're putting tests in place and systems in place that our students can be successful at.
So what do you have to say to teachers who might be disappointed?
I don't think teachers should be disappointed tonight. I think I very clearly said we heard everything you had to say.
Chairwoman, they're going to be
Things will be different going forward in terms of the message and the way that we deal with them in terms of communicating and making sure that teachers are heard in going forward. A lot of times I think what happens too is a lot of the negotiations happen behind the scenes. They don't happen out front, so that the teacher sees the end product. Maybe it's not far enough for them, but they're not part of the discussion. So I think that that's very important, and how we talk to people, how we communicate is something that's important to teachers.
Talk about these quarterly assessments. Does this mean that every time the commissioner, someone's mad at the commissioner, she's going to have to come in, you guys are going to yell at her? How does that work?
Actually, no. Actually, it was these performance reviews have been put in place for the last board. The last board just never did them. And the commissioner actually wrote them.
I asked.
She asked for them. They're 3-month reviews. So that, boy, wouldn't it have been nice 2 years ago and 18 months ago if these issues were building within the teacher unions, that they would have a forum to come forward before the board and sit down and talk about it? Wouldn't it have been nice to have those kinds of conversations? I can guarantee you we will have those conversations going forward, and making sure that, at least on our part, that all of those concerns are brought out.
One of the teachers' concerns is the evaluation system.
Right.
Is that going to change at all, or do you like how that's going?
No, certainly it's one thing that we're looking at. Whether it's going to change or how long it's going to change for, that's why I was very clear while the teachers were still in the room to tell them these are some of the issues that this board is looking at going forward. The commissioner in the past, I can tell you, has made changes to the evaluation system. So maybe it needs further evaluation. We're certainly willing to look at that. It's a new day for education. I think that we need to take today and go forward. We have our leader. The fight's over. The board has spoken. Let's move forward together to make some progress.
Commissioner, are you concerned at all that the reforms that you've implemented are going to be slowed down in any way by any agreement that is?
You know, I feel really confident in what we've put in place, and I'll tell you that we have slowed down many of our efforts as a result of feedback that we've gotten. And so I think when you make decisions about timelines, when you make decisions about process, or when you make decisions about content, that they have to be based on listening to the field, listening to the experts, and making those decisions based on everything that we know is going to be best for our students. I have confidence that Chairwoman Mancuso wants that. I have confidence the board wants that. And I absolutely have confidence that our teachers, and by the way, it's also our school committees and our principals and our superintendents and our parents and everyone out in the field, that when I hear over and over again the feedback, when you sift through it and you see the themes, it truly is very consistent that we want the same things. We just have to figure out how to get there together.
So are we going to see a slowdown on either the teacher evaluations or the graduation requirements?
I think it's too early to start talking about specifics on those. I think what the commissioner is saying tonight, and it's been a very, very long day for all of us, so I think what we're saying tonight is what we're trying to do is sit down, inform, look at what's happened at this point, and if we have to do a pause, like the commissioner has done and the board has done before, as we look at these issues, then that might be it. Whether they go forward the way they are or not we'll see what happens. Okay?
Commissioner, Chairwoman Mancuso said it's a new day for education in Rhode Island. What does Deborah Gist 2.0 look like?
Well, like I said, I've heard the feedback really clearly. I don't know exactly how we change things. I just know that we need to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.